Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Today we're going to take a look at my glucometer, and I'm down to 9.3. However, the last 24 hours, I'm starting to do the up, down, up, down. So, yay. Now, today we're going to discuss this little device and why did I go with it. This device is the Medtronic 770G pump, soon to be upgraded to the 780 pump. The 780 pump will allow more of life to go on without having to calibrate with stop you from going all over the place. I don't know how well it'll do, but it'll do better than we look at now. So, first of all, why did I choose Medtronic when there's a brand out there where I don't have to use this tubing? The good thing about it for me is I was first brought up on a tube-filled insulin pump. All the insulin pumps I've ever had are tube. So yes, I'm kind of really friggin' used to it, okay? Problem with the Omnipod is you have another machine separate, and you would have to type into that machine. Chances are, personally, I would lose that. I already have a phone. I don't need to go on about it. This had tighter control options at the time. So now I've stayed with it. You know, people say, well, why don't you just change to the Omnipod? Well, like I just said to you, the Omnipod is great. Like, don't get me wrong. For most people, you know, they're all going to go for different types of pumps. There's nothing wrong with making a decision that another one works for you. For me, it was Medtronic. The other reason why I went with the Medtronic closed loop, and that just means that the blood sugar and everything just stays system. You can see your blood sugars, you can deal with it. I have a Medtronic Guardian, I believe it's Guardian 3 transmitter. Guardian 4 is coming. Yay. Sorry, I don't know what they're doing upstairs. But having a Dexcom and then having another machine, so I would be carrying around a PDM, which is about the size of a cell phone. For me, like I mentioned before, I would lose it. It's not a good thing. For me, doesn't mean it's not a good thing for you. Check with your doctor. Just testing something. Keeping your body under control. I first of all, stayed with Medtronic because I'm used to Medtronic. I know the system. It's true we could go and learn all over again, but I've been able to stay up with Medtronic. My cell phone now I'm able to see my blood sugars. I don't have to pull this out and take a look. The problem is when this alarms, my cell phone alarms. And it's a pain. But, having something attached to you or having something placed on you can still be a pain. However, doing like 4 or 5 up to 8 shots a day isn't sort of the best thing. So you're never going to win. Pure and simple. But it's better than dying from diabetes. Thinking back to I wasn't alive, but thinking back to 1921, 24, in that era, insulin was developed and it changed. People were dying, mostly kids, were dying from type 1 diabetes, and they become skeletons, and they lose a whole bunch of weight. And eventually they'd succumb, they go into DKA, and they would pass on. It's not a pleasant sight. I've dealt with DKA a number of times. Getting sick is not the greatest. The Medtronic, like I said, I stayed with, and this has granted life so much better. Now, if you don't like the idea of the Medtronic pump for whatever reason, or you like the Tandem, or a number, don't feel bad. They all kind of have some sort of features. For me, this being stuck with to me gives me a way of reading this. If I didn't bring my phone, I'm not gonna panic all day. From what I've read, and please don't get me wrong, is that you really need the PDM to care for your delivery of insulin. You can't sort of press a button, as far as I know, where you can take your insulin. This, I always have the screen. On my phone, I have almost an identical. So I don't know, if I'm at work, I can quickly see where my blood sugar is, where things are headed. Amazing, right? And it's helped here. It allows me to better control my diabetes. Now, it's not totally perfect, and they keep working on newer and newer models. That doesn't mean just because there's a new model, you have to race out and get it. You can't, they're quite expensive. However, for me, they work. And I know in most provinces in Canada, they are covered by your medical or your provincial pharmacare. In BC, it's just being, in the last 10 years, that all diabetics are eligible for an insulin pump. Now, one caution I have to say is when you're dealing with your insulin pumps, so I get that, you need to first learn how to walk before you can run. Or in this case, maybe it's before you can drive. Take time with your son or your daughter learning how to make sure they give shots, that they manually control your diabetes. If you run into problems, they're going to need how to do that first. Have an emergency plan with your physician. Just something to think about. That's it for now. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.